Welcome everyone to another spray paint video. This one, hello, has been a custom request made through my store, and it's for an Artic scene with northern lights and a couple of little penguins going for a little waddle. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and please subscribe, it would really help out a lot. And if you've got any family and friends that are interested in seeing this, please share the link to my YouTube channel and this video. Thank you very much. So for this one, the paper is 64 centimeters by 45, slightly bigger than A2, and gloss on one side, and I'm using Montana Gold cans, which are all kind of low pressure cans, which means you get more precise spraying. And I'm going to be using mostly kind of blues, turquoises, purples and some greens. The stencil I've used for the planet is a big microwave cover, big clear plastic cover. And I'm going to be cutting and using my own stencil for the little penguins in the foreground. Everything else, the mountains, the sky, the land and everything will just be done freehand. So please sit back and relax and enjoy this one. Thank you. If you haven't seen some of my previous videos, I'll put links to them up in the cards. And I'm going to put some up on the screen here so you can have a look, see if there's any more that you'd like to see being painted. I also, quite recently, well I say recently, it was before lockdown started, which feels like months, years ago, who knows, I've lost track of time. I've done a video on the history of spray paint art and how it all started, and who was seen as the world's first spray paint artist. So if you're interested in that, the video's about 10 minutes long, and I'll put the link up to it in the cards. Thank you. It's double whammy this one, double gunslinger, here we go. Get that blue paint on there as fast as possible, quick, 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 quick. You'll see me wafting the paint away quite a bit in this video. I do paint kind of outside. I'm in a garage with the door open, so there's a lot of airflow, but now and again sometimes the paint just lingers, and get it out of your way as quickly as possible. Even with a mask on, get it out of the way, you don't want to breathe that in at all. Not good. Seen some of my previous videos, you'll have seen me doing that loads of times, flicking on the stars by spraying some white paint on your fingertips and just flicking it down about a foot above the paper. Okay, here we go with the Northern Light. So for this I'm just going to grab a sheet of A3 gloss paper and curve it and angle it in the way that I want the lights to go. So I'm roughly going to spray in over the top of them so the lines aren't too prominent, they don't look just like lines that I've drawn on the paper. So I'm going to dry this and curve it a little bit more, spray some more green paint over the top, and then just mist it to give it that kind of lights and star effect. And this should work quite well to see northern lights. Is it Aurora Borealis? Aurora, I'm not going to pronounce it right, forget it, it's northern lights. So with the low pressure cans you can add in quite a good precise little sprays of different colours. So I'm just going over this with a kind of lighter turquoise so it doesn't look too a luminous green, and I've put in some other blues as well just to kind of try and blend it in a little bit to the sky. You don't want it to stand out, it doesn't look like a cartoon. And I'm just going to spray over some bits that I want to highlight with some more green. So I've sprayed so much blue and green that I have probably dulled out more of the stars than I would have liked, so I'm just going to add a few more in here. Just the same technique as before, but this will just make them highlight and stick out that little bit more. Don't want them to say cheerio because I've oversprayed. So sometimes you look at a paint and you keep spraying, you keep adding things on, but there's times that you just need to stop and say, right, that is enough, that is it. And that is the time I've got to here. So I'm looking at it thinking, maybe I should add some more, but nah, take the stencil off, there's the moon, planet or whatever it is, it's a big moon in this case. And now we're going to start spraying in the foreground. So for this we're just going to spray in some pure black to give a landscape. And I'm going to use the same colour black as a base colour for the mountains in the background. This is just going to be, the foreground here is going to be some snow scenes with some rocks and whatnot for Mr. and Little Miss Penguin or whatever, Daddy, Mummy, Daddy Penguin to walk on. And I'm just going to hand paint in the outline of the mountains in the background here. You might have seen me and some other spray paint artists using a silhouette cutout for mountains. I've done that in the past as well. But occasionally I just like to paint them in freehand. Sometimes you get a better outline that way if you're not predetermining it with what you've painted in. The problem with that is you've got to spray in the colour, and if you're using a small brush like me to fill it in, you could be there all day, so you have to just be a little bit careful not to go over the edges that you've painted with your spray can. That's why I'm just painting in close to the edges with my brush. Using the brush though, you get some nice textures when you're coming down the mountain, so it does add that little bit of depth to it. So here I'm just starting to tear off some little pieces of gloss paper, and I'm going to spray some white onto another piece of gloss paper, and using the rough or the torn edge of the gloss paper that I've just ripped a small piece of, I'm going to mix a couple of whites and greens and put in some highlights to the mountains. I've seen Bob Ross doing this. He'll use a palette knife coming down with his oil paint. That would work, but the spray paint's so much thinner than the oil paints that it will just drag it all off and end up with a big slodge of white paper showing through. So I prefer on this type of paint just to use light touch, little piece of paper, and just dab in the white. You'll see on the piece of paper that I've got there in my left hand starting to go very black. That's quite good though, because it means that your shadows and your highlights will start to get different. But now I need to put on some more white paint because it's getting too black and too dull. When you're doing this, you'll start to see more shapes develop and more texture develop. If my head would get out of the way, you'd be able to see it. There we go. You start to see more kind of shapes developing in the mountains. So don't just stick to linear shapes. You'll see on the left I've got little ridges, little bumps, little areas that the direction of the light's changing. And now we're adding in some turquoise colour just to give it some highlights on the other side. See that mountain on the right? Look at the turquoise, what it's doing. It's like the light reflecting off the moon and the northern lights reflecting off the mountain. You don't want to kill all the dark colour though, because the dark is what makes the light lighter. Without dark there is no light. And what I'm doing here is I'm just using another torn piece of paper and making some ridges and some highlights into the foreground so it just doesn't look too plain. So that's just the same type of paper that I've used for the mountains, just a little piece of gloss paper. And now I'm putting across a magazine, crumpled up magazine paper, to add in some more rock-like textures. I'm just signing my name there while the paint's still wet enough for me to do it, and we're about to add in the little penguins. So that stencil, I cut that earlier on by myself, just a freehand drawing. I just cut round it with a sharp craft knife, and I'm just covering the rest of the painting with gloss paper and magazine paper because you do get a lot of overspray at times, and sometimes when you take your stencil off you'll get like a square or rectangular outline to it if you haven't covered enough, so that's why I do that. And this is just pure gloss black paint, go over the top of the stencil. You don't want to soak it because it will seep through the edges, just give it a light coating, and you'll see I've weighed it down at the edges with some nuts and bolts and whatnot. So here we go, time to take it off, see how that's worked out. And let's have a look. How are they looking? Yes, perfectly. Perfecto. Nice and sharp lines, that's what you want to see. You don't want any spilling of the paint going, and I've sprayed white in the background there of the little guy just to make him stand out that little bit more. What are we at? 14 minutes. Nearly finished this video, nearly finished this painting. If you've made it this far, please drop a comment below because I don't know how many people watch YouTube videos this long, but if you're interested in this stuff and you're still here, thanks very much. And drop a comment below if you're still watching this video at 15 minutes. And I'll reply to you, saying thank you very much. So just a few finishing touches to this one, just a little bit of purple in the sky just to highlight it. And I think with that we'll almost call this painting done. Stop doing the purple, don't overdo it. Stop. Good. Put it down. You could get carried away with doing these, you really could. You could actually end up ruining the paint you've already done. What am I doing now? More purple. Just a little bit and that'll do. Okay, so that is pretty much this painting done. Normally with the end of these I'll give them a colouring of clear coat. But what am I doing? I'm adding more purple! Stop adding purple! No, it's just to give it a little highlight. Just wanted the purple bits to shine through that a little bit more. There we go, that's perfect now. Right, leave it. Leave it. Yes, we're done now. And that's the clear coat in my hand there, so that's me just giving the whole thing a spraying of clear coat, which gives it a nice glossy finish, and it will help protect the painting for future as well. What am I doing now? Glue? Yeah. Sometimes when you look at things you think, I'll just add this little bit extra. That's it. So after I'm finished this, I would spray the whole thing in clear coat again. I don't think I captured that in video, but I do it all the time. And there we go, nice close up little penguins. See how sharp the stencil came out? And the highlights in the mountains, the northern lights, all the stars, the sky. And that is it done. So thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.